So I want to welcome you back to Hope Starts Here, where together we're learning how to see Jesus more clearly, how to love him more dearly, and how to follow him more nearly as we journey together to the cross and then to Easter Sunday. And it always helps me to start with a light when I'm being with God, so that I remember that Jesus is the light of the world. He's the light in my darkness, and that he calls you and me to let our light so shine before other people that they glorify our Father in heaven. And what we see when we look at Jesus today is what might be called the shy Jesus. And I want to say a word about this. In John chapter 14, in our text, Jesus locates himself in the reality of Father, Son, and Spirit, what over time in the church came to be known as the Trinity. Jesus says, "If you love me, keep my commands, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to help you, who will be with you forever, the Spirit of truth." And so there's the Father in this text, and there's Jesus the Son, and there's the Holy Spirit. When I was growing up, sometimes I would ask about this idea of the Trinity. It always seemed confusing to me, and sometimes people would try to explain it. It's kind of like an egg where there's a shell and the white and the yolk. But what was particularly helpful to me with the Trinity was to understand the significance of the Trinity. And the significance is that God experiences community within the Godhead throughout all eternity. God is never alone. God is never lonely. The Father, the Son, and the Spirit never grow tired of one another. They never get testy with each other. We are sheltering in place, and Nancy was telling me she'd read something the other day that anybody who has a roommate or anybody that's married needs to invent a third person to blame for all the stuff that conflicts arise over right now. Who left the dirty dishes in the dishwasher? Who left the dirty clothes laying around on the floor? Well, in the Trinity, they never got into arguments about who left the dirty dishes in the dishwasher. In the Trinity, there is, between the Father and the Son and the Spirit, a relationship of joy and mutual submission and servanthood that is so deep that it was sometimes pictured as a dance. When Jesus talked about the coming of the Spirit, he didn't say, "It's too bad for you that I got to leave, but the Spirit will be okay." He said, "It's good for you that I go, because then you'll get to have the Holy Spirit with you, and that will be amazing." And when the Holy Spirit comes, the Holy Spirit didn't draw attention to himself, but to Jesus. And even the Father, when the Son came and the Father spoke from heaven in the Gospels, the Father did not say, "Hey, don't get too carried away with Jesus. Don't forget I'm up here too." The Father said, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." Dale Bruner is a great New Testament theologian, wrote a book a while ago about the Holy Spirit, and he called him the shy member of the Trinity. Not with the shyness of timidity, but the shyness of other-centeredness, the shyness of delight in relationship. And then he said, Jesus shows that same quality, and the Father shows that same quality. The whole blessed Trinity is shy. I love that about Jesus. So now, as we follow him today, practice the Trinitarian fellowship, because we live in him and he in us. Today, be shy. Not the shyness of timidity, not the shyness of introversion, but the shyness of other-centeredness, of putting others' interests above myself, of really looking into somebody's eyes, even if it's by Zoom through a computer, of listening to somebody's voice, seeing into somebody's heart, and blessing them. You are the light of the world. And I'll see you tomorrow.